What's up, guys? My new sabers are dropping next week on Theory Sabers on Instagram. Enjoy the video.
What's up, guys? During today's two live streams, one on Star Wars Theory for Starcraft Mondays with Mauler. By the way, next week we're having Critical Drinker as well, so be sure to tune into that at 2 p.m. PT. And then tonight, also on Theory Talks, which is my channel about like relationships and psychology and stuff like that, where we just had a episode with Sadia Khan. You guys were asking me both in the live streams what I thought of the Rey leaks, and I hadn't heard anything about this. So I hopped on the phone with my buddy Jay, Drunk 3PO, and he told me that there was actually some rumors and that they're pretty credible. So I went diving on the internet to try and find what the leaks are, what's the information, and I couldn't really find much other than this article which came out a couple days ago, which is now, we see a lot of people starting to gain traction on this information. And again, I don't know if this is legit. It could very well be fake. They could be throwing out rumors left, right, and center just to see what the public's reaction is of it, and then maybe they'd have a better direction of where to go to write the story. You never know. With untalented people writing stories, they seem to just like to write stuff that works well with the audience, instead of just writing the story and having it play out the way it's supposed to be for the story's sake. So anyways, a previously leaked synopsis from issue 1335 of Production Weekly stated, set roughly 15 years after Rey's victory over Palpatine at the end of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. The sequel delves into Rey's courageous endeavor to restore the Jedi Order, where she assumes the role of a mentor of two promising young students, a girl and a boy. As her training progresses, it becomes evident that the girl possesses extraordinary abilities, destined to emerge as the future leader. Now, a new rumor from scooper WDW Pro alleges to reveal two possible paths the film might take. Now, this leaker has had a lot of things correctly speculated in the past, so we can maybe take that into consideration. He alleged, there are two iterations of the Rey script that I am aware of, that I can talk about according to rumor. And those iterations of the script that I have been told existed. Folks, I haven't seen the script. I don't have any hard proof of this. But again, when it comes from someone who helped us tell you that the Rey movie was coming, I take it pretty seriously. So okay, the information comes from someone that he knows who is credible. And again, even he's claiming that he doesn't know it. So, okay, I haven't read this. So I just started reading a few lines. I'm like, okay, so this is the article. WDW Pro relayed. So there are two iterations of the Rey script that I am aware of that I can talk about according to rumor. And those are apparently early on in development. The idea was that Rey would be pregnant with a child and that off-screen she would have become pregnant somehow through the Force ghost of Kylo Ren in a way that would have been explained but not presented on screen. Clearly not presented on screen. I mean, Kylo showing up as a ghost and getting freaky. I mean, it seems like a scene out of Scary Movie 2. They could not have Rey be pregnant with any other person than Kylo Ren. And that was to placate the Reylo fans out there. Oh, cool. So we're pandering to... Okay. Instead of just telling a story. And then the story was going to push forward to when her child was about 9 years old. A daughter. Weird. You know who else was 9? Anakin. And that daughter was going to be training in the new Jedi Temple with Rey and with the other Padawans. That this 9-year-old daughter was going to combine the light and the dark and form a new type of Jedi. He continued. And then they were going to face off against, is it Darth Plagueis? No, don't ruin Darth Plagueis, please. Well, apparently he was going to be back, and so that was the first iteration of the script. So that was discarded. Thank God, okay. They did not feel that would quell with the complaints about Rey being a Palpatine, and they didn't want to fool with that. There were also concerns that Daisy Ridley's character was a side character and that her daughter would be the lead, and that was going to be an issue. He later detailed, this script didn't really have a lot of oversight from Disney executives beyond Lucasfilm. As far as the second script, he shared his belief. Okay, before we get to the second script here. So they're making stuff up just to make the Reylo fans happy. If you don't know who Reylo fans are, they're a group of fanboys and fangirls that really wanted to see Rey and Kylo Ren come together and be a couple. They were shipping them. And since Ben died at the end of the film, they're very upset. And so now it seems like they're writing stories to literally pander to a certain... Whenever you're writing a story to pander to the audience, you're really losing the whole fundamental idea of what telling a story is about. Telling a story is to tell the story, not to appease a certain group of the audience. I think that's where you really lose yourself as a storyteller. That's not what George Lucas did. It's not what Star Wars is.
And I want you to get out of this office right now. No way. No way.
I'm glad that they chopped that just from that standpoint. As for Force Ghost Kylo Ren making Rey pregnant, I mean, you know, he did touch her belly at the end of Rise of Skywalker, so we could potentially get Rey being pregnant. It would at least make more sense than him showing up as a ghost and getting freaky with her, considering he has no sperm. And I know that, you know, we can throw the argument of, well, you know, Anakin was created with the Force. That was the Force answering back to Plagueis trying to create the perfect dark side Force entity by manipulating the Force. And the Force said, nah, you don't manipulate me. I'm going to answer you back right now by creating the perfect light side entity, the perfect one who will bring balance to the Force. That's exactly what Anakin did. You know, in a convoluted way. So when it comes to Ben Solo doing that, it's not the will of the Force. That's the will of one Force Ghost. And to be honest, it's getting kind of cheap with the whole Force Ghost thing. It's like everyone can now be a Force Ghost. Well, then why not Mace Windu? You know, why not every other Jedi who died during Order 66? You're telling me Ben Solo now? Come on. No. Glad that they scrapped that. Bringing my boy Darth Plagueis back would be... I mean, God, it would be cool to at least see him, but geez, they're going to massacre him so badly. They don't even know how to get any of the characters right. Luke, Han, look at what they're going to do with Plagueis. I mean, I bet you they won't even read the Plagueis novel, for God's sakes. So no, bringing Plagueis back, I think, would be a terrible mistake. I think, and then what, you're going to have her kill him too? Or let me guess. They were going to have her daughter join Plagueis. Plagueis is still around somewhere, somehow, this whole entire time. And then Rey, with the boy that she's also training, goes and tries to save the girl. Boy probably dies, because men are now bad. And then Rey and the girl kill Plagueis. Something like that. Am I right? I mean, Disney execs, Lucasfilm execs, if you're watching this video. Am I right? Is that what you guys were thinking? Anyways. Yeah, no thank you. WDW Pro then revealed, so that was discarded. They did not feel that that would quell the complaints about Rey being a Palpatine, and they didn't want to fool with that. As far as the second script, he shared his belief that it was the one done by Stephen Knight. As far as its plot details, WDW Pro stated, that one, where Disney became involved, that involved Rey and Finn fighting against a villain, a new villain, who was a combination of a Night Sister and a Sith. So a Sith who had learned to take on the powers of the Night Sisters and combined with the Force with magic of the witches. That would be sick. And that Rey and Finn would be combined together to take on that foe. What do you mean combined together? Like fusion? Like Dragon Ball? He continued, I'm also told that Grogu would make a cameo in both of these, but that Grogu has been scaled back dramatically due to needing to save him for the Mandalorian movie, and because of the change in production and releases related to strikes that were going on. Now, where this became problematic is that apparently the executives took a London, England, April 7th, Dave Filoni, Daisy Ridley, and Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy on stage during the studio panel at the Star Wars Celebration 23 in London. Why would that become problematic? They don't understand. What do you make of these possible scripts from Sharp? Some of this doesn't even feel like it's proper English. Yeah, look, I mean, the whole thing with Plagueis, I truly believe that J.J. Abrams was planning to bring Plagueis in as Snoke. If you go back to a really old interview with J.J. Abrams, Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, they're all sitting on a panel and they're answering fan questions at some sort of a convention. They almost let it slip. Well, Daisy Ridley almost lets it slip that Plagueis is Snoke. Snoke is Plagueis. And they were talking about Snoke and she was like, oh, is that Darth And then JJ cuts in. He's like, and just, completely takes the conversation elsewhere.
Oh, is that...
Larry? You want to answer that?
However, I would have enjoyed that. I really would have thought Snoke being Plagueis would have been cool, Here's Plagueis hiding out in the whole galaxy. This is why he's scarred and disfigured. It makes sense. He didn't look like a Mun, so okay, whatever. Maybe he changed his physical shape, whatever. I think that would have at least made more sense. Would have tied things together a little bit. I would have been down with it, but we got what we got. Garbage. As for Rey and Finn coming together, okay, cool. Finally, they're going to give Finn, the justice he needs. He would have been the best and coolest character for sure. But them coming together to fight a new villain who is a Sith and a Night Sister, yeah, that'd be sick. But you know what? I just feel like at this point, I'm not so invested in Rey and Finn anymore. I feel like I would have been if they handled their characters really nicely in the beginning, but they didn't. And so for that reason, I'm out. I feel like Shark Tank. I'm not too invested in these characters any longer. And I would have loved to have been. This is not coming from a, haha, I hate this. No, I would have loved to have liked it. But I just truly don't think that we are at the and then having Grogu in there. I mean, I understand that Grogu is around because he's going to be so super old. He's going to outlive all of them. He's going to outlive Rey 10 times over. But what does that have to do with the story that we're like? That just makes the galaxy really tiny at that point. You know, we need to venture out. We need to keep going outwards and outwards and outwards. And these characters don't even need to really meet. And I just think that we gotta like first tell the story of Grogu. And this is why I think they haven't introduced Cal Kestis into any sort of story or anything like that, because we don't know his final end, right? So if we were to get him, let's say like 20 years later, it's like, okay, so he's alive, but we haven't finished his story yet with the games. So we have to do that. We have to get the movies with Grogu, and then we can eventually get the perhaps future of him once Mando dies. Because we all know that's going to happen. It's going to be sad, but Grogu will live on, and he will take on all of the teachings of Luke, of Mando, of everybody, right? And he's going to be a Force-sensitive Mandalorian, which is going to be amazing. Technically, the third now after Sabine, but in the House of Vizsla, but it's it's a cheap trick to use Grogu and everything. However, it needs to make sense. And I'm just hoping that this movie, even though I'm not down for it because of what happened in the sequels and how it was just utter garbage, in my opinion. And if you liked it, that's fine. More power to you. But I didn't. I really wish I did. I wish, dude. I wish. But it's not the case. It's just bad. Like, it just wasn't good. It just couldn't feel it. And I just really hope that whatever they do, it's going to be a movie that's done well, written well, and nobody will complain over it. Well, it's Star Wars, so someone's going to complain over it. But as for these two scripts here, I think they're abysmal. I think the first one is worse than the second. Do not bring Plagueis back at this point. If you have Snoke and you didn't bring him back in the sequel trilogy, I mean, don't do it. Like, this is overkill. You cannot bring the two same Sith back in the whole freaking story. Bring someone new. Bring somebody else. I don't care who. Just not Plagueis. Do not ruin that character. One of my main concerns is that they're going to bring Anakin in here. And I think, the only one that was like constantly talking about Anakin, making Anakin videos. I had his cardboard cutouts behind me. My favorite character. And now he's like, mainstream. And everyone's like, oh yeah, Anakin. But man, I used to get made fun of all the time. Like, all you talk about is Anakin. Well, yeah, he's the main character. And I would love to see him return in everything. But I just really fear that they're going to mess up his story. I almost don't even want him to have any sort of connection with Rey because of what they did with her character and how it was just all shit. And what they did with Luke. I don't know, man. I really hope that we get some better writers who actually know Star Wars, not just cool Hollywood writers. But at the end of the day, it is what it is, and we're going to watch it, and we're going to see it, and, well, some of you won't. I will. I'll have to have my take on it. And I guess we'll have a better sense of everything. But so far, these two leaks, not looking forward to it. Sadly. But yeah, that's what I think about that. Let me know what you think. And follow me on Instagram as well as Twitter. And check out my other channels, which are linked in the description. Hope you guys have a great day. May the Force be with you always.